today's world, there's unfortunately a growing popularity with kofrim. Kofrim that are people that are specifically, instead of trying to honor Hashem, they're trying to make it their point in life to be a chilul Hashem, a walking chilul Hashem, a walking desecration of Hashem's name, where they decide one day that they don't want to be religious and they want to publicize it to the world. And there's unfortunately many shows online and on televisions and whatever else that people are looking for it, that are publicizing these horror stories of people that came from religious, holy families, and now they have this bad apple. And this bad apple is not quietly going to the corner, minding his own business, and just trying to move on with his life. They're trying to make sure the whole world knows it, and they're trying to bring everyone with them. How could such a thing happen? So there's several different reasons of why such a thing could happen. First and foremost, the Gemara specifically says that there's no such thing as someone going off the derrière. Meaning that there's always a problem with the root. Meaning, he was never religious to begin with. What's the example? The example is Elisha Acher, Elisha ben Avuya, who learned an enormous amount of Torah, to such a point that he became one of the Tanaim. But unfortunately, one day he went off the derech, he became a kofer, he became a really big problem for Am Israel, and they changed his name to Acher. When a prostitute saw him violating Shabbat, and she says, wait a minute, aren't you the Rabbi Elisha Acher? And then he violated Shabbat. She goes, no, Acheru, he's someone else. There's no way that you're the rabbi. Why? If you're a rabbi, maybe you have desire to go to a prostitute. But if you're violating Shabbat, there's no way you're a rabbi. Meaning that in the eyes of that generation, and us, it should be us too, it's even worse to violate Shabbat than to, chas v'shalom, go to a prostitute. But nonetheless, people need to understand that Elisha Acher didn't just go bad. There was something bad with the roots, and the maaseh is that when he actually was born, his father invited some of the chachamim, and he saw them studying Torah and creating a holy fire. He said, you come to burn my house? He goes, no, we didn't burn your house. This is a holy fire. This is a holy fire. It's a spiritual fire. It's not a regular fire. It's a spiritual fire. And this fire is created by our learning Torah. He says, if this is what the Torah does, then I'm going to have my son study Torah. So the Chachamim ask, what do you mean? His father was a Chacham. He knew what Torah does. What does it mean that I'm going to dedicate my son to the Torah? It means that now that he sees in his own eyes the benefit, now I'm going to give him to Torah. Before that, I wasn't sure. If you're not sure, that means it's not coming lishmais. You're not doing it for the right reason. You're not learning Torah for the right reasons. You're not learning Torah because Hashem said so. You're learning Torah because Abba said so, that is your biological father. You're learning Torah because you go to yeshiva. You're learning Torah because that's your life. Just like the people in Africa walk around in underwear and they feel perfectly fine about it. You're learning Torah. It's a custom. It's not your life. And the reason why such things happen is because there's always a bad root. It could either come from the bad education, it could come from the person himself not dedicating themselves, it could come from a number of things. There's no one thing that we can pinpoint at. One thing that we can do is know that these people that turn into heretics and want to publicize their horrible, horrible sins, they're not doing it because they don't believe. They're doing it because they're dying for attention and to justify their actions. Because inside them, they know it's wrong. Inside them, they know it's 100% wrong. But every person needs to calm their nerves, calm their conscience. How are you going to do it? I'm going to get other people to do it with me. Why does the thief invite anyone else to come steal with him? Not because he wants to share the spoils. Because he knows it's wrong, but if he steals also, then it's less wrong. If he steals also, then it's less wrong. Why am I going to invite him to the club? Because if he comes with me, then it's less wrong to do it. So they want to invite the world to do the same thing. They're yearning for attention. They're yearning for justification. And last but not least, they're also making the ultimate mistake. The main reason why people become less religious is because they make the mistake of thinking that Judaism depends on the Jews. This is a mistake. Judaism does not depend on the Jews. Judaism depends on the Torah. How do we know this? We know this simply because before we went to Mount Sinai, The Torah existed already. 974 generations before the world was created. The Gemara in Masechet Chagigah says Hashem created the Torah, black fire written on white fire. But He did not have a Jewish nation yet. Why? Because no one received the Torah yet. No one accepted the Torah yet. Once we went to Mount Sinai and we accepted the Torah, Judaism was born. Meaning that if, chas v'shalom, somebody else would have accepted the Torah instead of Am Yisrael, they would be the Jews. Which means that what makes you a Jew is not that your mom is Jewish, even though halachically speaking it does. In reality speaking, what keeps you Jewish is whether you observe the Torah or not. Just like we did at Mount Sinai. So instead of focusing on what the Jews are doing, and this guy did this, and therefore I'm going to steal, and this guy did this, and therefore I'm going to this, all people trying to justify their sins because there are other sinners, remember, he's a sinner, it's not going to help you. If he stole, it doesn't mean it's right for you to steal. If he cheated, it doesn't mean it's right for you to cheat. It has nothing to do with you. He's a bad Jew, that's his problem. He'll have to pay for it on his own. Doesn't justify you doing it also. So stop blaming other people for your own desires. Overcome your desires, overcome your Yetzer Hara, and Be'ezrat Hashem, you'll have a Chaim with a lot of Atzlacha, a lot of good things, Be'ezrat Hashem, and a lot of Siyat D'Ishmaya, help from Shamayim, where you're not going to actually ever have any type of confusion that you need to go elsewhere for answers.